Hello there and welcome back. I'm now joined by Adam, one of our game programmers, and we're actually gonna do a little Q&A with a few frequently asked questions about our system. But first, Adam, what have you been doing as a game programmer on By Blood Alone?
I have mostly been programming, actually.
Okay.
The game specifically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing, I know, right? No, but I've been working mostly on the air stuff. So stuff like air theaters, looking through air combat things. I've also been trying to act a bit as a support for the plane designer.
Mhm.
It wasn't really needed, which was very, very nice for me because, you know, I didn't have time to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been working mostly on like the air theaters and
Yeah.
like air combat and stuff like that.
Yeah. And we're actually gonna jump right into it with talking about the first area, which is air combat changes, with the interception to target.
Yes, so there is a thing called interception to target that we added. I don't know if where Daniel left us off, if we even have. Oh, we do actually have a war, but I don't think Ethiopia has any airplanes.
I don't think they have.
No, I don't think they have any airplanes. So I don't know if I can really show it off. But so beforehand, what happened was that you would take your bombers and you would like throw them in an area. So, for example, if you're trying to attack Germany, what you could do before is you could use like, as England, you just take all of your planes, throw them into Germany, strategic bomb, and have them like, yeah, basically bomb the shit out of Germany.
Yeah.
And the only way to like counteract that would be to take your fighter planes, put them on interception or put them on air superiority in your own country, right? But what we did now is that now we save all of the strategic regions that your plane goes through. We save them to a list, and then when we proc air combat, we actually throw the planes into air combat in the provinces that they're going through.
Yeah.
So if you're throwing your planes, oh, the mouse sensitivity is very high. So for example, if I'm like taking my plane, if I have any, I should have. Yeah, let's see, I have some planes here.
Oh, there's some fun little planes.
Yeah. So if I take these planes and I say, hey, go to northern France, I would also proc air combat in the Alpine region, which didn't happen before.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, and it's gonna be interesting to see just like how that changes, and if people actually is gonna start using interception on front lines a lot more than they did before. And it kind of actually goes into something else that I wanted to show, because I've seen a lot of streamers do this and I've seen a lot of YouTubers do this, and they don't know that it doesn't work. Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
Oh,
yeah. So up here we have the air superiority and we have the interception. Before you could click both of them, it did nothing, right?
Yeah,
it only did air superiority. So like a lot of people, they went into the game and they were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have some air superiority. So they take their fighters and they go put them on air superiority and interception, throw them into the enemy area. And it's like, well, they're just going to do air superiority.
Yeah.
Because that's how the code works. It just goes through the list and it takes the first one it can do. Yeah. But with the changes that we did, it now balances out a bit more.
Yeah.
So there's actually like a reason to do multiple of them. Well, you can't do interception air superiority because we removed that. But if you have some, what planes do we have available? Do we have any
weird planes?
CAS planes? We do actually have some CAS planes. Yeah. So if you do, for example, this, before what it did, it would only do close air support.
Yeah.
But now it's actually gonna divide them up and like try to balance out what missions the planes are sent to, which is a huge difference, just like code-wise and like work-wise. And it's gonna hopefully make the game a bit more intuitive and make combat just more intuitive.
Yeah, so you just don't slap them in one area and just do things.
No, exactly, right? So now you actually kind of have to, like, you can actually divide them up. You can like split them up a bit more and a bit easier.
Okay.
And that's gonna be, yeah, hopefully people will enjoy it because that's how people played the game, and now it's gonna work how people wanted to play the game.
They played the game, they didn't know that it didn't work, and now we made it so they still can continue playing the game.
Yeah, right, so now it works like you thought it did.
That's right. All the people face palming that they never knew this.
Yeah, exactly. I can just see it in front of me, like people being like, "Oh no, how many YouTube videos do I have when I go air superiority and interception at the same time?"
You did many things.
Yeah, it didn't do anything.
Yeah,
it just went to air superiority. But since the planes now, yeah, I don't think it starts with one of those planes. But when you make a new plane, if I do like this, as you can see, you can like put, yeah. So this is like light machine gun, light machine guns on a CAS plane. So this plane can do air superiority and it can do close air support. And if we kept the old system, what people would do is that they would probably just go like, "Oh, I'm gonna take my CAS fighter or fighter CAS, I'm gonna do air superiority, and I'm gonna do CAS, and hopefully it will work out." But with the old system, it would only do air superiority, so it wouldn't work out. But with the new system, it'll split up, it'll be cool, and it'll be fine, hopefully.
So yeah, I'm just gonna. When is the DLC split come out? It comes out next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yeah.
Exciting things. But then also we're adding the new large theme at air theaters. So.
Right. Yes. So, as you might have seen on stream, is that we have these ungrouped air wings up here in the corner. Maybe someone has used it. I'm not entirely sure what people have been doing on stream because
we did a short segment when we were talking about the air changes when Robert Dodson were going over them. But I think they left a few questions regarding a way of seeing all like a proper like overview of exactly how everything in.
Yeah. So the nice thing about this is just how you have all of your planes here. Right? Because before, one of the things I did when I played the game was just I lost my planes, right? And like either you attach them to an army and then your army goes away somewhere and then your planes are just lost. They were in the ether somewhere. Or you just forget about them. And then you have like all of your planes in an airbase and it's like, where are they?
Yeah, I've done that many times.
Yeah. But now it's quite easy because now we just have them here in the ungrouped. Like they're here. Hello. I don't have to go into like a separate button and click and see where they are. And then I can just add them as a new theater. And here I have my Italian air group. Look how cool it is. And I can take this whole thing, just have it selected, and I can just send them somewhere and be like, yep, this is my air group. I'm going to work with it. And if I even have a little army like this, I think I even have to give them a mission, right? If I go some area defense. Hello? Yep, there we go. Then I should be able to click and I can just put them on, and now I have the whole air group attached to the army.
Yeah.
Meaning that they will follow them still. But if I ever want to do something with them and attach them to a separate army, well, here they are. You can just click them, add them, remove them.
There's less buttons to press.
Less buttons to press. It's more like on the screen. If you want to see them, you just go to the air mode, and there they are. And it's going to be hopefully a lot easier to handle your airplanes.
Yeah, I think for myself with playing about Blood Alone myself, trying it out, it is a large change for me, especially since I like to play in like Canada and Romania and running an air game.
Yeah.
It's quite a large difference. It makes the game a little more intuitive for me.
Yeah, yeah. We actually had a multiplayer game because we run weekly multiplayer games, and the one we played last, which was yesterday, I actually played as Canada with a couple of airplanes. Yeah, so I was like testing them out, and I had them in my little theater. I had my groups, and I was like trying to make sure that Germany couldn't like do what Germany does.
The air changes, DD mentioned that you looked into changing agility stats.
Yes.
Has something happened?
No. Is the right answer. What we did instead was with the plane designer. So okay, the real answer is yes and no. The actual, like, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, the answer is no. We haven't changed air combat. It's the agility stat works basically the same. I don't believe we have done any real like balance work on the Defiance and stuff, but it's fairly the same. On the other hand, we have this thing called a plane designer, and all of these things that are in here that you can choose and that you can change, that affects air agility a lot. People are not going to be able to get the same amount of agility as they could before. They're not going to be able to get the same speed unless they like actively try to make a speedy plane. planes are going to be a bit more expensive in my experience. So it has been balanced, but in a passive way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like things will be slightly more expensive. They won't be as... I think I went over stats a little bit in the previous stream. They won't be as explosively powerful, some of them, which is needed, because previously, for example, let's say strap bombing before, it was incredibly powerful. I believe most multiplayer games I see with the current patch before blah 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 was that you either just completely ban strap bombing or just limit it to number 1, which is, you know, then you understand how powerful it was.
Yes. But it has been quote unquote nerfed in my experience. I see some other questions. I saw one. How do cost reduction focus affect multiple role planes? Yes, that is a very interesting question, because we have done a change where if I open up the research tree, it might be more easy to show. Where are you? There you are. So we have the small airframe, we have the medium airframe, and we have the large airframe. So whenever you want to like give a cost reduction to an airplane, we give it to an airframe. So we give it to either a small airframe or a medium or a large, and then those in turn are used as like the baseline of what can we build as a plane. So if you get a cost reduction for small airframe, that will map onto the production, and you can see, when does this close? Give me a small airframe. Here we go. And it's going to be able to be either a CAS, a fighter, or a naval bomber. So I would say that it's like a buff if you want to like stack bonuses and stuff, but yeah. So that's how we do it, right? So if you anything that before was like, oh, it affects fighters, now it's going to affect small airframes. That's like general.
There's another question there. How do you differentiate between small airframes and CV planes?
Yes, those are different. So we have the basic small airframe, and then we should have a
basic carrier airframe.
Yeah, I wonder if that's it. I think this is it. Yeah. But I think it should be shown in the research tree as well when you research it, because you can see we gained the interwar small airframe and the interwar carrier airframe. So CV planes are all small.
Yeah,
planes,
they're always small airframes.
Small, yes.
So when you reach certain smaller ones, you gain 2 airframes. You want one for carrier and one for normal.
Yes.
So here, and I think then air wing reinforcement. I think this is an area we got a lot of questions about.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be a bit. We had a bunch of crossroads when we did a bunch of decisions. A lot of stuff we didn't get like an intuitive, yes, this is the right answer, but it was something that we had to like iterate on and to make sure that reinforcement actually worked in a way that people expected to. So if I go back into, why do I leave the designer? I should just have it open. But as you can see, there are a bunch of like small images here, and this is basically the mission set. So a plane consists of a airframe, and then the main armament tells you what type of plane it is. So this is a tactical bomber because it has a TAC bomber as a main armament. And then all the other stuff that you add on top of it adds missions that it can do. So if you have an air wing, the only plane that can reinforce that air wing are planes that are that have the exact same like mission set and this exact same type of main armament. And of course it's the same airframe. So you can't make like your biggest baddest fighter and then you take that and then you add CAS weapons on top of it and then expect it to be reinforced because they're gonna have a different mission set. And that's a big technical limitation that we ended up with just because of like how like old and stale, I guess is the right word, the air combat code is. It couldn't handle it. It really couldn't handle it. So
it's an unfortunate technicality.
It's very unfortunate, but what you can do is you can still like, we decided that it was better to allow players to make like their dream fighter CAS plane. Like you make your small plane, you give them the fighter weapon, you give them a CAS weapon, and then you have like your fighter cast plane that you can throw up in the air to do air superiority. When you have air superiority, you do cast, and like we would rather have that than just like splitting everything up and being like, no, if you're gonna make a fighter plane, you make a fighter plane, nothing else. So
yeah.
So it's gonna be my mission set. So you gotta have to take care and look at the mission set and see so that it fits correctly with what you're doing.
Yeah, we got this question again in chat. Are carrier versions small airframes with on a special airframe?
It is a special airframe.
It is a special airframe
Yes.
that you get at the same time as you research the small ones.
Yes. And it is yeah, you can think of it as a small airframe, but with the carrier thing. This is something that I really like. So when you have like a bunch of air wings like this, or a bunch of planes like this, you can just like click and be like, yeah, I want 3 air wings. I want them to be important. I'm gonna click OK, and there I have them. I don't have to like click and then deploy and then click again and then deploy and then click again and then deploy.
Yeah.
Or like what people used to do, where they created one that was like huge and then split it into multiple pieces, because that's the way to, like, that was the way before, the fastest way to get like multiple air wings. It was just you create one big one and then you split it up.
Yeah.
But now you can just like in the UI, you just click. It's like, oh, I want 2 of these air wings. Cool. Okay, there they are. Amazing.
Yeah, and you also have the smaller quick deploy menu.
Yes, we have the quick deploy menu where you can add stuff. So you can add fighters. Don't have any fighters, but you can add attack bombers, for example, in this case. And then when I close this, there I have my quick deploy buttons.
Yeah.
So if I actually take all of them and I delete them, and then so I click this, that up, there we go.
So one little button and you get 100.
Yeah, and if I even do this, it's gonna go bloop.
Bloop, all of them.
Yeah, because we have, so you can control click to add 5 and shift click to add 10.
Yeah. Someone wrote there like, few aircraft splitting math was my nemesis.
Yeah, and mine as well. So, so it's actually, I really like this change, because it was really, it feels so good, right? You build up your stockpile and then it's like, planes, there they go, click, click, click. Now I have them. Something else I was thinking about, yeah, but it's come back to me.
So yeah. I do, let's see here. I do get a question there in chat regarding, so you know, Japan, they have a focus for a fighter.
Yes.
0. And they're asking, what does it now unlock? I believe we just jump over and quickly check their focus.
This one?
Yes, it's that one.
Yep. So here it is.
An improved carrier airframe.
Yep. And it gives you, and it has a couple of guns on it.
Yeah, so that's how the 0 looks when you complete the focus.
Yeah. But it's not my favorite gun. My favorite gun is you have a small airframe. I don't want a basic one. I want someone that's a little bigger. No, I don't have one. Then you just stack fighter weapons on it. You just stack guns. I really like this. This is funny to me.
You know what I liked before it was changed? Biplane with jet engine. It was my dream. The fastest plane in the world.
That was a bug.
No,
bug. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Feature.
No, that wasn't supposed to happen. That was a bug.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my dreams were crushed.
Yeah.
Because it was just a bug.
Yeah.
For some reason, you can't have jet engines on a biplane. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, if it wasn't meant to do it, but I mean.
Yeah. Things happen there.
Yeah.
Doesn't unlock the airframe in the tech too. I don't believe so, but we can take a look in the tech area.
Wait, what does it say?
Does the
airframe in the tech?
Don't believe, because it's the first one, right? Or is it the second one?
Yeah. So.
It's the improved one, so it's the second one.
I'm actually gonna say. Not answer this question right now.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep it in the back pocket for now.
Yeah, we'll keep that trust in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Can we mod that back in the jet biplanes?
If you can mod it in, maybe you can.
You just need to remove a restriction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can mod it in.
Yeah, you can mod
go
it
ahead.
in. Yeah.
Jet plane biplanes, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll play that mod.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Oh yeah, we added another thing. That kind of hopefully people are gonna like. So we have this equipment tag that you can set on your planes. So if you have like a specific a specific fighter that you just stacked all the guns on top of, and you want that to be like your cool main fighter plane that you want to throw at Germany or throw at whatever country. Then you can just add a cool little. I like this one with the hat. That's my favorite one. And then when you make the air wing, and then you have your air wing, you can just add a tag to that, and then it's just gonna pull planes with that tag, and it's gonna be really, really good. So this is my favorite.
I think we'll actually end with asking you one question. What's your favorite thing being added in By Blood Alone?
My favorite thing being added in By Blood Alone, a bunch of exploits.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough.
I know of at least 3.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing people figure them out, unless we manage to patch them beforehand. Good luck with that one.
Creating some excitement there for the content creators watching. But yeah, with that, thank you so much for joining me here on the stream. If you want to keep up to date, you can take a look at our social media and our Discord. And I will see you guys next Tuesday when we release By Blood Alone. But in the meanwhile, we'll leave you with the pre-order trailer. Bye-bye. So basically, being more awesome in Ethiopia makes you less awesome in Italy if there's a civil war.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you're awesome in Ethiopia, I'm sure you're going to be awesome in the civil war as well.
Most likely,
Just wiping Mussolini's butt around.
Hello there and welcome back to the 8th feature stream. Today I'll be joined by Daniel first, and after that I'll be joined by Adam, and we're first going to take a look at Old History Italy. But first, as you're a content designer, could you talk a little bit what you've been working on in BBA?
Yeah, I've been working on Italy and mostly on the, the alt-fascist branch here, and helping out with the monarchy branch mostly. And Manu's done an amazing job with the communist and democratic paths.
Okay.
So that's mainly what I've been doing.
Yeah, I guess we'll just jump straight into it and talk a little bit about the... I know there are a lot of people have been asking about the fascist paths of Italy. I wanted to ask regarding the thought process of adding the different fascist paths.
Yeah, so like back in World War II, the most plausible people to kind of replace Mussolini, if he had been ousted earlier, would have been another fascist guy, because fascism was so entrenched in Italy by that time. So that's why we decided to have two options as a new an heir to Mussolini, so to speak, with Italo Balbo and Dino Grandi being they were back and forth some of the forerunners of succeeding Mussolini historically, and then of course we had to have bundle the king kind of into that entire part as well. So the king will have to kind of face off against the Grand Council of Fascism, because he was kind of maybe not outright fascist, but pretty much hard right leaning. So that's why we've expanded the alt-fascist branch to this extent. And
I thought we could start off first with the democratic communist path and take a little bit about those.
Yeah, it's the Italian focus tree is quite a bit bigger now. And yeah, I mean, there's two ways to getting into the democratic communist branch. The easiest way maybe is if you're having a hard time in Ethiopia, in the Ethiopian war, and you go with the Abyssinian fiasco option here. That'll set you up with uniting the opposition, and then you can kind of entrench yourself in either the north of Italy or the south of Italy, giving you different kind of bonuses. And that's also where the starting point of the civil war, the coming civil war, will take place. That'll be your starting area. So it'll give you a nice pre-prep to the civil war. But I mean, if you're too awesome to lose in the Ethiopian war, you can still, you can go down with the triumph in Africa, and then you can still defy the Duce and start the civil war that way. You're not going to have these extra militia divisions, and you're not going to be as prepared for the civil war. So it's going to be a little harder, but it's possible too.
Yeah, so basically, being more awesome in Ethiopia makes you less awesome in Italy if there's a civil war.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you're awesome in Ethiopia, I'm sure you're going to be awesome in the civil war as well.
Likely,
just wiping Mussolini's butt around. and you can also liberate Gramsci, which was a historical communist leader, or at least a prominent communist person in Italy, and you get the option to rescue him from the imprisonment he's in. If you liberate him, he'll be available as a communist leader further down the communist path. But yeah, that's the kind of the instigation of the civil war and in Italy, if you want to go democratic or communist. And then they have a few shared focuses here as well, sub-branches. Like they get their own foreign policy tree, and it's mainly about how you're going to deal with your colonies in Africa. So you can have a referendum in each colony, and they can either vote to join you or go their own separate way, or just puppet all of your territories in Africa. So you get a Libyan puppet, you get a Somaliland puppet, and stuff like that. So that's kind of the focus of the foreign policy tree here. And then, of course, you get to deal with the mafia, because historically, the fascists in Italy was kind of successful in suppressing the mafia. They were kind of hard and ruthless, but they did suppress the mafia activity in Sicily and stuff like that. And historically, the United States actually cooperated with the mafia in Italy and back home in the States. So that's something you gotta focus on as well. And if you go down the democratic path here, you can choose to either cooperate with the mafia or crush it. And also you kind of have to deal with the military after the Civil War. And I mean, after that, you can, if you're early on with the Civil War, you can help out the Spaniards in their Civil War, no matter which way you go here, if it's democratic or anarchist, communist. And then down here in the communist branch, you can choose to either, go your own way, forge your own path forward, or team up with the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing here, going down the democratic path. You can either choose to join the Allies or create your own faction. The alt-fascist tree is kind of divided into the Italo-Balbo branch and the Dino Grande branch.
Yeah.
And those are focused very much around what they did historically.
Yeah.
So Italo-Balbo was a very prominent fascist leader during his days, during his time. And he was, I think he was both an air marshal and the minister of air defense, which is kind of reflected in this branch here, where all of these focuses will give bonuses to both air and the army. Because he had some ideas of modernizing and reorganizing the military, making it a more mobile force, which he kind of did with the Saharan auto companies down in Libya, which we've expanded on here a little bit. That's why you're getting upgrades for both the Air Force and the Army. And speaking of Libya, he was the governor there as well, because he was garnering so much attention and support in Italy that Mussolini kind of felt threatened by him and just shoot him away somewhere else where he couldn't bother Mussolini and just rival his popularity in Italy proper. So he was sent off to Libya, where he tried to lure to incentivize people to come and settle in Libya, which is the focus of his second sub-branch here, the fourth shore they called Libya. And that's all about you trying to improve Libya, finding oil there, or steel, can choose here, and with this one you get more militias, more irregular infantry, as well as improving and the entirety of Libya.
A very strong fourth shore.
And Dino Grandi, he was both the Minister of Justice and foreign minister.
Yeah.
Not at the same time though. Unlike Mussolini, who like did that. He held several minister posts at the same time. But so what he did as a foreign minister was trying to get an alliance with the UK, which is kind of represented in his diplomatic branch here, where you can seek a deeper cooperation with the UK or France, and then proclaim the empire, the Italian empire. And as the Minister of Justice, he kind of reorganized the entire thing, opening up the entire. No, was it? Could have been at his time as foreign minister. Someone in the comments would please let us know. Where he kind of reorganized the entire institution and let more people in, which is kind of represented in this industrial branch, where he reorganized the fascist party, and then based on meritocracy let people in, which is represented here with you gaining extra advisors, and just improving the industries here, and stuff like that. And the common shared alt-fascist branch between Balbo and Grandi is like how you're dealing with the legacy of Mussolini. Because he was really a dominant force in Italian politics for two and a half decades, more or less. So what you got to do is just stop Mussolini's squandering, consolidate power, and then purge the party.
Just purge them all.
Yeah, because I mean, Mussolini had a lot of support still, even towards the end of his reign in Italy. He had a lot of support in the fascist party. So you got to deal with that, and then you got to decide what to do with Mussolini. And after that, you can decide whether to strive for a greater goal with fascism as a whole. Where you're not focusing on one single individual, or you go double down on what Mussolini did with his cult of personality and go with Divino Duce, where it is more or less just trying to glorify the leader all the more. And for the monarchy, you have this little industry branch where you can get railway guns, bringing back old glories, which is just kind of refitting old ships. And if you're one of the first in the world, you get pretty good bonuses towards nuclear power.
An Italian nuclear power.
Yep. They actually had a very prominent nuclear scientist, Fermi. What's his first name? Enrico Fermi. I don't know if you heard of the Fermi paradox, but that stems from him.
Oh, okay.
People on the screen will know. Someone, I'm sure. Anyways, back to the king. So as the king, you can either revoke the Acerbo law, which was the law that granted Mussolini a lot of power in his early years, and kind of solidified his position in Italy. So by revoking that, you can either go with make the king the democratic leader, the leader of the Democratic Party, or you're gonna can have the Christian Democrats as leader of the countries. And going down this route means that you can actually end the threat of civil war in Italy from the Grand Fascist, the Grand Council of Fascism. So by crushing the opposition, going down that route, you end that threat of a civil war, a potential civil war. Or you go power to the king, baby. But you're still gonna have to deal with the fascism, right? The Grand Council of Fascism. So you can either utilize the black shirts or disband them, and then kind of transforming them into a royal guard and stuff like that. Or you can just oust the Grand Council of Fascism by seeking papal support.
Yeah, having the Pope be your true counsel instead.
Yeah, exactly. Which will give a lot of bonuses towards the non-aligned part and stuff like that. But that can be, that has its own ramifications.
Yeah. Then of course the most glorious path that you can pick afterwards, Mare Nostrum.
Yes, of course. Recreating the Roman Empire. I mean, what would an Italian focus tree be without a Roman Empire?
Yeah, you have to have it.
Oh, for sure. Of course. And that mostly focuses on, super heavy weaponry.
Bigger the better.
Yes. I mean, and that's something that the Roman army was really good at. They adapted foreign technologies into and incorporated that, and yes, they were the prime killing machine in their heydays, and that's kind of represented in this sub branch as well.
With all the different paths you can take, the balance of power changes quite a bit. You don't keep the same area, you don't have the same two sides. And I wonder if you could speak a little bit more to that and how it changes.
This is what the balance of power starts at, looks at the beginning of the game. You have Benito Mussolini and you have the Grand Council of Fascism.
Yeah.
I know you and Manu talked about this as well. So one of the major mechanics is that if you're going too far towards the Grand Council of Fascism, they'll actually just depose your leader, kick him out, and kind of appoint themselves as the new leaders of Italy. But if you go even further down than that, you end up in a civil war.
Yeah.
So that's one of two ways you can end up in a civil war. Either by the Grand Council having too much power, which will just rip Italy apart, or you go with the communist democratic path and start it by yourself.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, so with the balance of power, you have the current leader of your choice on the right, while you have the counterbalance for, in this case, the Grand Council of Fascism on the left. As, for example, His Holiness on the left when you go down that path on the monarchist area.
Yeah, exactly. So if you switch out, if you kind of, with the king, seek the papacy support, you'll oust the Grand Council of Fascism, but then you have to contend with the papacy instead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'll get different bonuses and stuff like that. And I mean, it could be advantageous to go down further down the papal balance of power.
Yeah,
because they're gonna have different bonuses than the Grand Council of Fascism, because the council have not good.
Not good, if you like advisors, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. But mostly, try to stay away from that.
Try to stay away from that. But you could say that it's every leader has a counterbalance per se in the balance of power mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. And if you go down the democratic and communist path, I think it's not really sure where we switch out that. Yeah, but you have in the balance of power, you get to have the democratic side and the communist side, but you're not going to have you're not going to be able to trigger a second civil war that way. But because at that point Italy is just so beat up, so tired, exhausted, so everyone's just going to not try to rock the boat.
With that, I thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And we'll be back in a little bit with Adam, and we're going to talk about our Q&A.